Hello everyone, how you doing today? My name is Kathleen Zemansky. I'm a business feng shui master. I'm a business astrologer and I have a proprietary calendar system called the TimeBlazr. And the reason we're online for the next 3 weeks is I would like to help you stimulate your business for really some miraculous results. So we are now in day 3 and this week is all about astrology. So, what I would like for you all to consider is that we have 3 weeks that we're going to spend together. This is going to be and intended to be not save for later. This is to do now, is to actually help yourself to stimulate your own business ideas, or getting some cash flow into your pocket. And so, this is going to be your actions. I'm going to need you to collaborate with me, as well as I'm going to help you with the training of getting into the yin side of the scenario, if you will, and that is to train you about astrology, about feng shui, as well as a favorable timing system that I call the TimeBlazr. It's my proprietary calendar system, and we're going to talk about that mostly in week 3, even getting into that even as early as this week, because I really want you to understand that when you take this holistic system of person, space, and time and bring them together, this is a pretty phenomenal way to tap into universal intelligence. But I need your intelligence and your actions to really get a lot of these things done. So we're going to get both the yin and yang going for you starting right now. Okay, we are in day 3, and what we are actually looking at is we're going to be looking at the 3 animals that are on today's agenda, which is the dragon, the snake, and the horse. And if you have been following along, you know that day 1 we talked about world trends and the 5 elements and how they're actually going to be showing up in this particular year of the metal ox. And day 2 we started with the ox and tiger and rabbit, and you can find those on YouTube if you happen to miss them. And so you're going to want to go back and listen to all of those. We're not going to repeat any of that information. I went extensively into how to navigate through your chart. That was in day 2. So we're going to just jump right in and look at these 3 animals. But I also want to mention that some of you may think that you may not need to know about these particular animals that I'm going to be talking about today. And that is, just looking at, if you will, just looking at your own year animal. Let's just say you were born in the year of the pig or something like that. Like, why do I need to know all of this other stuff? Well, the reason why is this is, like I said, a very holistic system. I'm going to actually go to the next slide so you can start downloading your chart if you don't have it already. And you may want to start sharing this with your friends and colleagues. And so basically what I'd love for you to do is I want you to start thinking about that it's just not about your year of birth. It is also about your month, day, and hour. I'll talk about that in just a second when we go to that first animal. But I also want you to start thinking about that it's not just your astrology that we're going to be looking at. We're also going to be looking at the feng shui, which has an animal component in it. So even if you don't have those 3 animals that I'm talking about, they will affect you from a feng shui perspective, because they are mentioned in not all 12 of the animals, but all 12 of the animals will have a significance on how it shows up on that dial. I'm going to only talk about the more positive and then the real negative ones as well. And then when we get into the TimeBlazr week, where it gets really, really juicy, where we're putting all these pieces together, then that's where you're going to really want to know how these animals are going to be behaving this year. So you really need to listen to the full training to get the full benefit. Now, I've also said at the beginning of this particular event that I'm doing is Stimulate Your Business, is that I really want you to have a business idea that you're going to be launching in the next 3 weeks. So I want you to be working concurrently on your email copy, your funnel, your landing pages. If you're going to be opening up maybe some discovery calls, if you're going to be looking at maybe starting a little program, like let's just get in like maybe $500,000 into your bank account in the next 3 weeks. Now, if you are a bigger player and you're able to get 500,000 or $100,000 into your bank account, good for you. I'm really happy for you because these tools will work equally for you as it would for anyone else. So it is just a matter of, blending these three systems: person, space, time, astrology, feng shui, and timing, with the TimeBlazr into the system. Okay. All right. But we're going to need collaboration, you and me together. I'm going to give you my best. I hope you guys are having as much fun as I am. I'm just really loving being back here, speaking with you and training with the knowledge that I have. And as a matter of fact, what I would love for you to do right now, if you're new to my community, go ahead and just say new and introduce yourself. Tell me your name and where you're coming in from. And welcome to the community. I really enjoy having new people here. And if you are someone that has been following me for a while, please let me know that as well. I want to give a shout out, especially to B. I'll just say your first name for your privacy purposes, but I really do appreciate your wonderful ness of sharing this with your community, and that's how we help each other grow, right? So let's just really help each other. So let me know what's going on in your life, and then maybe I can help share about things that are happening with you as well. Okay, so go ahead and let me know where you're calling in from or listening in from. And then the next thing I would like for you to do is, what is the thing that you're going to be launching in 3 weeks time? And it might even be sooner, because there's some pretty juicy days here in the month of July, which we are broadcasting live right now with. And it is also called the Goat Month. But this is really a very, I'm going to say, interesting month, because we have not only the clash of the year, the ox and the goat. Those two together are going to create some friction. So this is why it's a good idea to clash out what you don't need and make space and bring in what you want. So that's the objective of this program. Okay, let's move on to our next slide, and we're going to start talking about the dragon. Now, the dragon is a pretty interesting animal this year, because it does have not only good astrological things going for it, the attributes this year, but it also has feng shui consequences, I'm going to say, because it is a bit challenging for the dragons this year. But this is one of the most favorable energies that it has, because some of these animals, and I do need to mention this right from the get-go as well, is that when we're looking at the particular animals, some of them are going to have really great energies, and then some of them are going to not have as many equal opportunities, if you will. This is something that people have told me when they come to my live events. It's like, well, you didn't say much about my animals. Well, because your animals maybe in that particular year did not have that much going for it. So what we need to do is really kind of look where these animals are most favorable, because you're going to have up to 4 animals to look for, to play with, if you will, and strategize about. And so what the real objective here is for you to use the real power strengths when they show up, be aware of some of the potential challenges so that you can guide your communications, your strategies, the way that you communicate with people, the way that you would be launching something. Is it more a year that you would be doing research, or is it a year that you go full bore out? So those are the things that I really want you to start thinking about when we are looking at these animals. All right, so back to looking at the dragon. The first thing, and like I said, I'm not going to go through. I'm not going to go through the big. You know, chart analysis today. That was yesterday's video, but I will tell you, because I think this is worth repeating, especially if you're new to astrology, especially Chinese astrology. The four pillars: year, month, day, and hour, which is here at the bottom of the screen. So just look at that bottom of the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. The year of birth is always going to be about your social circles and your network. So it's about the people that you know that can help elevate your business. So these are your networking efforts. So if a dragon is showing up in the year of birth, then it's going to say, oh, this is how you're going to strategize for the year. And I'll tell you that in a minute on the strategy, but I think it's worth noting, and on every new animal that I talk about today, this will be at the lower part of the screen, just as a reminder for you on where it's going to show up in your chart. Okay, so it's about your social circles. It's about your branding. It's about your market expansion. Of how far and wide can you throw that net of marketing? And if there was ever a year that you could throw a global net, it's this year, because of everybody being in lockdown and a lot of people being online. So this is a really important pillar that I want you to be considering, no matter what the animal is. Just kind of fill in the blanks of what the energies are for the animal. That will be your strategy on how you look at helping yourself. Now, the month of birth is going to be about your career. It's going to be what you're best suited at doing in your career, whatever your career path is going to be. And it's also about your character. And this is one of the pillars I also look at when it comes to health. There's a couple of pillars that we look at, but the month of birth is even though we're going to focus on business, I am going to mention when it is kind of off the charts. Be aware, I am going to talk about that. And then your day of birth is about you. Now, your day of birth is very important because it's going to help you understand your personal growth, if you will, and your ability to have, to do some self-development, if you will. It's also about your partnerships, and it's also about your mindset. And I think this is probably one of the more important pillars of anything that I just told you, because if you believe that you can have a big business, then your year pillar is going to be ignited. If you believe you can be best in your career is going to soar. If you believe, when I'm talking about the hour of birth, which I'm going to talk about right now, which is your goals, your legacy, your life purpose, and your investments, if you believe that those could be ignited, that's going to be half of your battle. So that is something that you really have to wrap your mind around, is that day of birth is very important. We always need to protect that day of birth so the rest of your chart performs for you. All right, so let's talk about dragons. The first thing I want to say about the dragons is we really actually only want to have one dragon in your chart. Some of you may have multiple dragons, and that can be a little bit problematic because a dragon is one of the only mystical animals of the zodiac, or is the only mystical animal of the zodiac. The others are, snakes and pigs and dogs. Like, we recognize them. They're pets or farm animals, or animals in nature. Whereas the dragon is sort of this ever-knowing, ever-power. So they actually have this knowledge or wisdom about themselves. Highly evolved dragons I'm talking about. Um, those are the ones that really kind of know more than the earthlings do, if you will. But if you have two dragons or three, or you are start combining things like the year of the dragon, which won't be here till 2024, or you have a dragon month, which we've already passed, but every 12 days there's going to be a dragon day. So we do have to watch about the doubles if you have a dragon in your chart. So that said, if you do, one of the best things that you can do certainly is watch your communication and really take a step back, I would say, before you make any major decisions, because you're kind of like, you know, just like you know just quick decisions without really thinking through the consequences of them. Those are the things that can get you in trouble. So it's sort of like a self-punishment, we call it, or self-sabotaging energy. So do watch about if you have more than one dragon in your chart. And even if you have one, just like I said, another dragon can come up just by coming through in the days of every 12 days. Okay, so let's talk about this fabulous energy that the dragon does have going for them this year, the positive one. And this is called the moon. And this is a very classical term about what the dragon is experiencing in 2021. And we only have 6 months left in the Chinese calendar at the time of this broadcast. So I really want you to really use this if you have a dragon in your chart. So this is a very yin energy, but do not mistake that as weak, because a yin energy is quite strong. So, but what it is very good for is research. This is a great year for dragons to get ready, if you will. So start thinking about really what is your big master plan. You want to kind of keep your cards a little closer to your chest, that information, like don't be kind of blurting it out until you're kind of really ready. When you're ready, you kind of launch something with the TimeBlazr on a good day and good time. But this is where you really kind of go in, and this is where maybe a power hour or your thinking hour, and really taking those reflective steps that can really help you develop, like really tapping into your universal intelligence to help you discern if your ideas are good ones. I would have to say I have a ton of good ideas, and sometimes my team is like, slow down there, Kathleen. So, because just because it's a good idea doesn't mean I have to implement or deploy each and every one of them. Maybe the timing's not right, or maybe it's past timing, things like that. So, this is what I'm talking about for you dragons out there. I really want you to start stepping back a little bit and reflect. Okay, then it is also about having the patience to reveal it at a good time. So this is something very good for dragons to take into consideration. The other thing that the moon is very good for is it's very good for study. If you are looking at learning a new skill, honing one to, you know, be a better business person, be a better person in general. This is a very good energy that will help support and even help you be more intelligent and take that new learning skill and monetize it. So this is really where it's going to help you. This is also about making money behind the scenes. We could call it passive income. It could be you have a side gig going on, which is very popular right now, especially in these very unsettling times, is not having all your eggs in one basket. So this is actually very good for that as well. The dragons will also have a good opportunity for looking at partnerships this year, whether it be personal or professional partnerships. So I would start developing that if you haven't done so already. Start looking for either some partnerships that you'd like that are already in existence that you want to deepen a little bit. This would be a great year for you to do that. And then secondly, if you're looking for new partnerships, relationships, this would be a good timing for you to start getting that going, because again, we only have 6 months before the clock ticks and goes into the next area. Now, the dragon is also going to have some challenging energies, just like all of the animals. It's never going to be, I've never seen in all the years that I've been doing this, and I've gone around the zodiac, at least one time as far as looking at, my annual event. And then I do this mid-year event as well. But there always is going to be, some challenges. And again, what we try to do is boost up the positive energies if the animals have these attributes, and if they don't, then just beware or aware of some of the challenging ones. So dragons can be a bit argumentative this year, so you have to watch about disagreements. You have to and it's almost better to have someone neutralize, have some, like a mediator, come in and neutralize arguments that might be coming up. Because if you try to fix things yourself, you might muddy the waters and make it even worse. So do watch about that this year. Now, I am going to just briefly talk about something that's going to happen as far as the feng shui is going to be concerned this year. The dragon is located in the southeast sector when you're looking at the floor plan. I do practice classical feng shui, so we're going to have to be talking about direction and location and sectors and things like that. We'll get more deeply in that when we talk about the feng shui. That will be next week. But what I want you to already know is the southeast sector is a little bit, is very much compromised in 2021. Therefore, we can use the energies of the dragon, but spatially, it's probably best that you avoid it, because we have some challenging energies in the feng shui for 2021 for the dragon. So some animals, again, are going to connect well with the space. Some are going to be a little bit more challenging. And then the last thing I want to tell you about the energies of the dragon is that, you may find that there's going to be some envious people or jealousy and petty people and things like that. You know what? Let them have their whatever. Just try not to be affected by it, because I know sometimes it is kind of difficult to avoid those kinds of people or be touched by those kinds of people. All right, so now we're going to move on to, before I do, actually, I want to tell you a couple of other things about the dragon before we go too far. There are a couple of things that can help you, and that is the rooster. And the rooster has tremendous great energy this year. So find your rooster friends. You may have a rooster in your chart. And when you find this best friend, it just makes your life easier. So either look for a rooster in your chart, a friend, or we can also find it spatially. That would be with the feng shui. And we can also find it from a perspective of the TimeBlazr, where you're going to be looking. Now, the rooster month is in September. Again, time of this recording, we have not arrived at the month of September or the rooster month. So this could be where everyone can go, oh, that's actually maybe a good month to be doing some sort of a launch of some sort, or signing an important contract, or starting a new project. So we're going to want to understand what the timing is on this as well. So there's a number of different ways in which the dragon can tap into some positive energy, even though spatially we won't be able to get it for 2021, but we certainly can get it through other animals, of companion animals. Now, another way we can do this, and I talked extensively about the 5 structures in day 2, so go back to that video to hear that. But the 3 harmony basically means when you put these 3 animals together, a dragon, a rat, and a monkey, and you have to have at least one of these animals. The rest of it we can find either through other people or through timing. Then that way we can bring out this 3 harmony, and what it does is it brings more water into your chart. And so that's sort of a hidden little secret that I'm telling you right now. But basically, this is located right under your natal chart. And then you look to see, this is just a sample chart. Yours is going to look entirely different because it depends on what elements are in your natal chart that makes up your five structures. But until you look at your own chart, you're going to want to see, oh, do I even want more water? A lot of people say, oh, if it's my wealth element, of course I want more water. Well, be careful with that, because we have a very classic saying, if you have too much wealth, it does compromise your health. So we want to have balance as well. But again, you need to discern whether or not you need more water or not. And if you do, you would need to have at least one of these animals, a dragon, rat, or monkey, and then we can find the rest of it in the TimeBlazr when we talk about that in a little bit. Okay, week 3 is where we're going to get into that. All right, but we do also have a clash animal to be aware of, and you may even have this internal clash in your chart. That's not unheard of, to have both of these animals in your chart, which basically means you've had some challenges in your life, and you always will, because it's in your natal chart. So it is the dragon and dog. These are animals that are opposite side of the zodiac, and so this means that things are going to clash out. Now, I said at the beginning of this particular webinar today that we're right in the center of a clash month with the year. It's the year of the ox. We're in the goat month, and basically this means clash. I'm not so concerned about clashes because basically you clash out something you don't want. If you direct it, it's like, oh, what do I want to get rid of? What no longer serves me? So I make this choice to let things go. And it could be a client, it could be a project, it could be and I'm talking about things that are just not working. They're not functioning anymore. Why procrastinate about certain things anymore? Just let them go. Whereas if you don't, the universe will help with some suggestions, and sometimes it's things you don't really want to have clashed out. So that's why it's good to plan ahead. This talk about planning ahead system. Chinese metaphysics is right there to help you with that. So okay, so that's what I'm saying as a clash that could be a little bit challenging there. Okay, all right, let's go on to the snake. And let's see what the snake has to say for the year of the metal ox. All right, so really I'm giving it 1 star, but it's a weak 1 star, if you will, because it really doesn't have that much of positive energy this year. The whole Southeast is a little bit compromised. But I can tell you, and I mentioned this yesterday, and I think it is worth mentioning again, is that the reason I do this mid-year review is sometimes people, when they come to my annual event, or maybe they've read my book and they were going like, oh, okay, that's all great information, get very excited about it at the beginning of the year, and then they tend to forget what either the positive or negative energies are, and then they kind of lose all of that great potential that they could have had happening for them. But what I was saying about the mid-year piece of it is, if you haven't started already and you've got really good energies in some of these animals, then you better pick up the speed, because the following year, it may not be as benevolent. It won't be. You will not have the same energies to work with in 2022, in the year of the water tiger. So what I want you to start thinking about is, if an animal has lesser energy or more challenging, or maybe it's just not that vibrant, maybe that's an animal you go, okay, this is a research year, this is getting ready. Well, the snake is a getting ready year for you. In 2021, this is like, do what you can to boost up wherever that snake is showing up in your chart, if you have a snake in your chart, because next year you're going to have more possibilities than you are in 2021. Now, there's going to be some challenges for the snake as well, because the tiger and snake, they have a kind of a interesting relationship with each other, but there are some things you can tap into for sure. All right, but this year, what you get to tap into is what's called the triple harmony. And I'm just going to go, let's see if I can go really quick to that slide. I'm just going to go right to this slide to talk about it, and then I'll go back very quickly. But, you know, we're talking about the snake. It really didn't have anything other than you have these companion animals to work with. So we'll talk about the rooster when we talk about the rooster in a couple of days. And I've already spoken about the ox, so just go back and listen to that particular energetics. But what I'm trying to say is that, again, you have to have at least one of these animals for the triple harmony to be successful. And then you have to add in the other two. So if you have a snake, we need to pull in the rooster and the ox, and it will make more metal in your chart. Again, look at the 5 structures, and the 5 structures will then tell you what metal is to you. I think it is also worth mentioning again that you may not have all 5 elements in your chart. So if you don't have the 5 elements, bringing in that other element, it could either be uncomfortable for you because you don't know how to handle that particular energetics of any particular one of these elements. But you know, sometimes it is like, oh, a welcome change. So it kind of depends on your own constitution and other things going on in your life on whether or not it's a good idea to bring in that 3 harmony. But it is a secret, sort of a secret tool that's really nice to tap into if you want to bring that into your life. Okay, now the snake does have some challenging energy, and the biggest thing is suspicion, but it's kind of unwarranted suspicion. So you're not trusting, and so you know the thing that I'd like you to do is check to see is it in your head? Are you really kind of fabricating some things that are happening, or is it really real? So that's the thing that a snake needs to discern about the suspicions that you may have in 2021. Okay, now we do have a combination here that is nice to tap into, which is a snake and a monkey. Snake and a monkey is kind of an interesting combination because it also has some kind of harmful when it shows up in a certain way, depending on what's in your chart, which you would discern through a private reading with me or another Chinese astrologer. But basically, this is where it can, let's look at it from the positive right now, where the snake and the monkey, when you combine those together, they become best friends, and life is easier for you. We already talked about the 3 harmony, and then the clash animal is the snake and the pig. So always, 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 we look at the animals that are opposite sides of the zodiac, and so those are exact polars of each other. And so the snake and the pig are what we need to watch out for as far as a clash is concerned. Okay, now we're going to go on to the last animal for the day, and we're going to talk about the horses. I love actually what's happening for the horses this year because they've had kind of a tough time, especially if you followed me a year ago. We talked about the horse rat clash. Well, this is a much different energetic. So this is even though the horse does have not a great simpatico with the year of the ox or the animal of the ox, we do have some really good strengths that I want to talk about with you right now. Okay, and so we've got two really nice energetics that we can be playing with this year, and it has a fabulous feng shui attribute as well, which I'll talk about just briefly, and then we'll get more into it when we talk about feng shui next week. So anyway, and then by the way, let me know if you have any of these animals in your chart. Just put it in the chat below, or anyone maybe that you are in partnership with a team member or something like that, please let me know if you have a dragon, snake, or horse in your chart and where it shows up, because that's going to be important for you to understand, again, your month, day, or hour on your strategies. Okay. All right. Well, the first thing that the horse has is, let me take a quick sip. The first thing that it has is this great neutralizing energy this year. So what really happens is some of the challenges that may have been surfacing for you, this is a really good energy to help. Again, maybe step back and reflect, like, what is the true real problem that is in your way? Because if you know the true problem, it's a lot easier to find the solution for, right? So this is going to help you for neutralizing that negative impact that might and bring more flow, which is always a nice thing to do, is bring a nice steady flow into your life. The other thing that you have, which is really nice, are advocates. These are people that, and they're kind of almost unseen helpers. Like, people will come out of nowhere to help you, and it's going to be really fabulous to experience. And if that has happened to you, if you have a horse in your chart this year, or you have a horse in your chart, that will never change. You're born, that chart will never change. But basically, I want to know if you've had someone just out of nowhere, or someone that you never thought would be there to help you or even offer help, and voila, there they are. So if you've had that, just say, yes, I've had almost like guardian angels. That's really what it's like. They're almost like guardian angels that just like, yes, of course I will help you. Yes, this is what I can provide for you. And then obviously what you want to do is make very, very darn good sure that you thank these people in any way possible form that you can, and give as much gratitude, and then pay it forward. Help somebody else. That would be the true way of a nice way to keep the gratitude going, right? Okay, so for as far as the unfavorable energies this year, you are one of the animals that do need to watch very much for your health this year. So again, if you are already dealing with something, I would do my best to try to either reverse or at least bring it into control. And if you don't have anything that you're dealing with, prevention is the key. Try to stay as healthy as you can. Obviously, we have a global um, issue going on with health, and so a weak immune system is not going to be your friend. So do whatever you can that suits your sensibilities, and really, really take a concerted effort, because you don't ever want to let something go chronic, or something that's going to be, irreversible. So do take care of your health for sure. Now, the horses may also find themselves a bit lonely this year. Um, that we talked yesterday about solitude. That's kind of a choice, where lonely is you just kind of feel a little bit alone. So this might be where you're going to want to be a little bit courageous in getting out and keeping your connections going. This is going to be a pretty good indication that if you're feeling lonely, then I'm talking to you right now. Try to find some groups, whether it be business groups or personal groups, and maybe call up some old friends just to check in and see how they're doing. So reconnection is my solution for that one. Now, we also have an energy that I'm calling lust. So we do have to watch out for those of you who have horses in your chart, is we do have to watch out for maybe getting into situations that are probably wrong. And the thing is, there's a lot of people that might have quote unquote affairs, and they might not get found out. If you have a horse in your chart and you're messing around where you shouldn't be messing around, or thinking about messing around, you might get caught. So, the choice is yours. How we can use this in business, though, because your tractability is up, right, is how you can use this in business is it's great for sales because you just have this magnetism about you that will certainly help. So why don't you attract that instead? Ethical sales, let's call it that. Let's have a good product and service, and then go ahead and propose it to your base and see how you can make some good sales with that instead. Okay, and then the last thing I want to tell you about the energetics is that you may have something like buyer's remorse. Now, last year, if you had a horse in your chart, you probably spent a lot of money on something. You might have bought a new house. You might have something that really hurt your pocketbook. Let's put it that way. Like it really, man, that was difficult to let that money go. Hopefully, you made an investment that will grow over time, or you made an investment in an asset that you decided, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and invest in this new piece of property or whatever, and that the value grows over time, and you're either going to use it for what we call flipping here in the US, and or you're gonna live there yourself. It could have been a new car. Again, something that really you spent a lot of money. Now this year it kind of rolls over into the 2021 where you have buyer's remorse, where you still are going to be spending money, but not hopefully as much as last year. But again, you might be able to guide this in the respect. You might need something that's still a little bit of an expense to you, maybe a pain in the rear to do this, but maybe you have to upgrade your computer or your digital products, or maybe you've invested, and hopefully this would be the smartest thing to do. You invested in a good coaching program. That would have been a smart investment for you because you want to do something that's going to monetize over time, right? That whatever you choose to spend the money on, that it is a good investment either for yourself personally or professionally, instead of doing ridiculous, just going on a shopping spree that could have happened. For example, Amazon just had their mid-year prime thing, whatever the heck they do, and I just avoided being online during that time because it's too easy to pass up these deals to save money. Well, then when your credit card comes through, it's like, damn, did I really even need that? So that's the thing that I want you to be aware of. Now, the last thing I want to tell you about the horses is kind of the same that I told you about the dragons. We only want to have one horse in your chart. So anyone born in the month of June, for example, will, depending on the day, after the 4th or 5th of the month, depending on the year, up to the 4th or 5th of the month in July, give or take a day or two, you will have a horse in your chart. So you could be born on a horse day and a horse hour, etc. But even if you have one horse in your chart, then when we have either a horse day, month, or year. The best that we can get now is a horse day or a horse hour, because the horse month passed, which was in June. And so you just have to be careful of, again, that self-sabotaging energy. Okay, so that's the thing that I want you to be watching out for as well. Okay, so a couple other things that we're going to talk about with the horse is the goat month. So even though the ox doesn't really like the goat or the horse, these two are companions. So we are at least broadcasting in the month of July, which is the goat month. But here is where that ox is going to get in the way of this companionship. So I don't know if we can expect too much. Because both animals are fighting for their, to keep standing there this particular month. And then from there, we have the three harmony. Some of you may have, like I said, these three harmonies within your own chart. And if you do, that brings more fire. Now, do take note with this particular year because fire, as I mentioned in the day one, is not a favorable element in 2021. It's one of the weaker elements, even though um, pretty much all the west coast of the year is on literally on fire. I mean, there are so many fires going on in the state of California. Blessings to all of those who are dealing with that, and even into Canada and many states to east of California as well. Literally half the country is on fire and huge heat waves, huge drought, precarious drought situations. Climate warming is really a huge danger for what we're dealing with out here. But um, we do need fire. So without the sun in the sky warming up our planet, Earth would not exist as we know it. So we do need fire. It's just unfortunate that this year fire is not a favorable element. Now that's going to shift as we go into the following year. We're going to start seeing the energy ascend, and then the ox is going to descend. But the ox is going to be with us pretty much all the way to the end because the ox month is in January. So we're still going to have to be dealing with pretty much the ox energy all the way through 2021, the year of the metal ox, which is still looking at January 2022. So we do have that to contend with, but that is something that we do need to be aware of. So okay. All right, and then the clash animal for the horse is the rat. So anyone who had a horse in their chart certainly felt the 2020 energy of the year of the rat, and then countering the horse. So there could have been a lot of changes that were happening there as well. Um, okay, so then what I want to talk to you about now, these are the three animals that I talked today. And tomorrow's program, what we're going to be talking about, just for you to get ready for that, just so you know, is we're going to be talking about the goat, the monkey, and the rooster. And so the biggest difference about what I've been doing all along the way is tomorrow I'm going to be introducing the TimeBlazr, because I wasn't going to show you the TimeBlazr about months that are past because that timing is gone. Why even confuse you with it? But I am going to introduce a new concept to you, which is favorable timing. So we'll get into that tomorrow. And for today, really what I'd like to do is just thank you for your time. And again, if you can put in the comments below, and thank you, Joy, for joining in today. And yes, Guardian Angels have been working overtime for you. I am so happy for that. That is awesome. That is awesome. So, and Joy also said that she's got a snake in her month of birth. So you've got a great animal working for you, but you got one that is kind of, but you've got the annual energies that's boosting that snake up. So that's actually happening as well. So hi, Elizabeth. You have horse and charisma. So great for you. That's wonderful. Thanks for tapping in on Facebook. And then Elizabeth said you have a snake in your hour. So wonderful. Joy, you're in Denver now. That's what I didn't know that. Reopening up your acupuncture practice. So it's been, you've had a tough time. So dragging in the hours. So what I would suggest, Joy, is really just kind of like, as you're in the process of opening up that acupuncture practice, you're in a new location. I'm not sure if you've always been in Denver or not. Maybe I'm mixing you up with somebody else. But what I'm saying is, as you're reopening, really use this moon of the dragon, of that reflective time, to really kind of look and see what do you want to do different. what is kind of happening, surrounding the area that you're in right now that you can actually beat the competition is really how I want you to just really come out with that new way of like dealing with your welcoming back the clientele, and then also bringing in a referral kind of process and things like that. So that's really what I would love to see you do. And that looks like all the comments that I have today. So again, oh, Jen has a triple horse. All right, Jen, I'm going to talk to you right now. You're listening to us on Facebook. So, Jen, what I want to say to you is, and last year I am sure was a roller coaster of a year for you, as well as potentially a lot of change, because it would have affected three areas of your life. I'm not sure which pillars those show up in, but 3 out of 4, that's quite a bit. So really what I want you to do is, first of all, um, before you make any major decisions, I got a piece of advice from a lawyer when I was opening up my business, and actually when I was renaming my business to Five Elements Group. He said, you should always run by your ideas to at minimum 3 credible people that are non-judgmental, right? So he said you could use me as one, was an attorney, um, potentially depending on what the decision is about, your CPA, or somebody who does your books, and then find a trusted advisor. And so I do feel like I am a trusted advisor to my clientele and my base. And so I can give them information that you're not going to get, because we can already foretell like what's going to be happening in any particular day and time, right? So we can actually kind of see a bit into the future about, years that are going to be, more of a roller coaster, or a year that's going to be a little bit challenging. So I'm sure, because you have a triple horse in your chart, that the year of the ox has not been super benevolent for you. But I got good news for you. We've got some good feng shui things that are going to be happening. So we're going to talk about that next week, but I'm just going to give you a heads up. I want you to get your floor plan ready, Jen, because this is going to help you um, activate some energy in your space that is going to be good for your chart. So we'll talk about that next week, but going back to, maybe as 3 trusted advisors that is going to be impartial to the outcome, but is going to give you sage advice. So on major decisions, this is where I would like you to think about that. And then number 2 is, again, like really be like, take a step back. Like if somebody tries to force you into a decision, your MO is going to be, you know what, let me think about it, I'll get back with you. Don't make snap decisions, because the snap decisions may be the thing that are most harmful to your personal and professional life. So all right, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thanks again for joining in. We'll see you tomorrow, and I do want to remind you, tomorrow is Thursday, and I do already have the morning session with my clients that are already in my TimeBlazr program, and so I'll be with them until about 12:30. So we're going to be broadcasting at 1 p.m. Pacific. So sorry about that one change. There's going to be another little change the following week. And the other thing that I want to mention to you is that we created a playlist. If you want to see what I was talking about at my annual event at the top of the year, you can go to YouTube, 2021 Animal Astrology Forecast, and then you can just pick the animals you want to listen to, or listen to them all. And then I would really love, if you got value out of this program today, please, 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 you would do me a great favor, as we're companioning together, if you could share this material with your network, and if you could leave a comment, And also like if you're on certain platforms, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you're listening to me on YouTube. So I'm having a great time with you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.